Listen, life is not a straight road. It's not supposed to be. At 60, something powerful happens. You stop pretending. You stop chasing applause. You stop living for what the world told you to be. And for the first time, you start living for who you actually are. That's the shift. That's the soul-changing direction. The truth is, most people waste their first half of life playing someone else's game. They chase money, status, approval, whatever, but when you hit 60, all that noise starts to fade. The masks get heavy, the fake smiles don't work anymore. That's when reality smacks you in the face. Time is limited, excuses don't matter, and the only thing left that's worth chasing is your truth. And here's the part no one tells you. This isn't the end, it's the real beginning. It's the moment when the soul finally says, enough with the lies, enough with the pretending, enough with the wasted years. 60 is not a funeral, it's a rebirth, a second act. The time where you drop the dead weight and start carrying only what matters. The time where you stop living in survival mode and start living in alignment with your core. So don't sit around crying that you're old. Don't feed yourself garbage about too late. At 60, you're sharper, tougher, and wiser than you've ever been. And if you choose to stand up and face yourself honestly, you've got everything it takes to live more in the next decade than you ever did in the first 6. Life is not linear, it's not a straight road. It doesn't move forward in a perfect line where everything falls into place exactly as planned. Life is full of sharp turns, dead ends, sudden drops, and unexpected climbs, and that's the beauty of it. At 60, one of the most powerful shifts takes place. It's not about the wrinkles on your face or the gray in your hair. It's about the soul reaching a new stage of awareness. Up until now, most people spend their lives following the script. Go to school, get a job, raise a family, pay the bills, chase the approval of others, try not to rock the boat too much, and for decades that script keeps you moving. But then 60 arrives, and suddenly the script loses its meaning. You look around and realize the applause you've been chasing doesn't matter. The money you thought would bring freedom doesn't feel like freedom. The trophies on the shelf don't fill the emptiness inside. And that's when the soul makes a decision. It turns, it shifts away from the noise, away from the expectations, away from the lies you've told yourself just to keep going. 60 is not about decline. It's about direction. The direction changes because the truth can't be ignored anymore. You're done living for what others think. You're done sacrificing your peace to fit into a world that doesn't even know who you really are. At 60, the soul is tired of pretending. It's tired of playing small. It's tired of being silent when it wants to roar. This is the point where you begin to understand that time is no longer infinite. Every day matters more. Every choice carries weight. And every moment is an opportunity to live in alignment with who you actually are, not who you were told to be. That shift doesn't mean regret. It doesn't mean it's too late. It means clarity. It means finally being able to see the difference between what's real and what's fake. It means choosing honesty over comfort. It means choosing your truth over their expectations. And that shift, the soul's turning point at 60, isn't something to fear. It's something to embrace, because for the first time, you're not chasing, you're not running, you're not begging for approval. You're living. You're breathing with purpose. You're finally stepping into the raw, unfiltered version of yourself that was waiting underneath all along. And once the soul changes direction, nothing will ever be the same. Would you like me to now, ***, continue this into a full conclusion, ***, in the same style, or expand further on the ***, soul's turning point, at 60 ***, before wrapping up? Masks fall off. At 60, pretending becomes impossible. The weight of all those years spent trying to be who you thought you needed to be finally catches up, and you can't hold it anymore. For decades, most people put on masks. Masks of strength when they're scared, masks of happiness when they're empty, masks of success when they feel like they're drowning. They wear them to fit into workplaces. They wear them to fit into families. They wear them to win approval from people who aren't even paying attention. And at first, the masks feel light. They feel useful. They protect you from rejection. They help you hide your flaws. They keep you moving forward in a world that rewards appearances more than reality. But here's the truth: masks get heavy, every year adds weight, every lie takes its toll, every fake smile drains your soul, and by the time 60 shows up, the weight is unbearable. You can't keep pretending anymore. You can't keep faking emotions you don't feel. You can't keep chasing validation from people who don't matter. That's when authenticity breaks through, not because you suddenly decide to be brave, but because pretending is no longer an option. Your soul rebels against the mask. It refuses to carry that burden another step. And when that happens, the real you finally emerges, raw, unpolished, unapologetic. And that's when you discover freedom. Not the kind of freedom that comes from money or status, but the freedom of walking into a room and not needing to prove a damn thing. The freedom of speaking your truth without fear of who agrees. The freedom of saying no without guilt and yes without hesitation. At 60, you stop needing to impress. You stop needing to be liked. You stop needing to be understood by everyone. And you start needing only one thing: authentic alignment with yourself. That alignment is worth more than every approval you ever chased. It's worth more than every mask you ever wore, because authenticity is the ultimate currency. It doesn't fade, it doesn't lose value, it doesn't break when life hits hard. At 60, you realize authenticity is the only thing that has ever truly mattered. And once the masks fall, you never want to put them back on again, because finally, after all these years, you're free to be who you really are, and there's nothing more powerful than that. Time reveals truth. At first, it doesn't feel that way. When you're young, you think the world runs on approval, money, and status. You believe that if people clap for you, you're winning. You believe that if your bank account is full, you're secure. You believe that if the world recognizes your name, you've made it. And for a while, those things feel real. They feel like they matter. They drive you to wake up early, stay up late, and grind your way forward. But time is a relentless teacher. Time strips away illusions. It shows you what lasts and what doesn't. It shows you that the applause doesn't echo forever. People cheer one day and forget your name the next. The money you clung to doesn't buy peace at night. The status you chased doesn't fill the empty silence when you're alone. Approval, money, status, they all fade. They all lose their shine, and time makes sure you see that clearly. When you're younger, the distractions have power. They control your choices. They influence your priorities. They make you compromise yourself to fit in, to climb higher, to be seen. But the longer you live, the more you realize how little power they actually hold. The approval of others doesn't heal your scars. It doesn't erase your regrets. It doesn't bring back the time you wasted trying to earn it. Money can't buy integrity. It can't buy fulfillment. It can't buy another year when your time runs out. Status is nothing more than a story others tell about you, and stories fade the moment they stop talking. Time reveals all of this. It reveals what's real and what's fake. It reveals what holds weight and what's just noise. It reveals that truth is not found in the spotlight, but in the quiet moments when no one is watching. At 60, this becomes impossible to ignore. You see through the game. You see through the endless chasing. You see through the illusions you once believed, and in that vision, you find freedom, because the truth doesn't need an audience. The truth doesn't need to be sold. The truth doesn't need to be dressed up with status or wealth. The truth simply is, And time is the great revealer that strips away every distraction until all that remains is the raw, undeniable reality of who you are and what actually matters. When distractions lose power, clarity takes their place. And clarity is where strength lies. That's the gift of time, not just more years, but the wisdom to finally see the difference between the lie you chased and the truth you can no longer ignore. The soul demands honesty. At this stage, you can no longer tolerate self-deception. When you're younger, lying to yourself feels easy. You tell yourself you're happy, even when you're not. You convince yourself the job you hate is just temporary. You say the relationship that drains you is worth it because it's comfortable. You pretend the dreams you abandoned don't matter anymore, and for a while, those lies work. They keep you moving. They help you avoid the sting of truth. They allow you to hide from the parts of yourself you're afraid to face. But every lie has a cost. Every piece of self-deception builds a wall between you and the life you're meant to live. And by the time you reach 60, that wall is too heavy to carry. You can't lie to yourself anymore. You can't keep telling yourself stories just to get through the day. Your soul rejects it. Your soul refuses to accept another excuse, because at this stage, truth is no longer optional. Truth becomes survival. You realize that the years ahead are far fewer than the years behind, and wasting them on lies is no longer something you can afford. The soul demands honesty about who you are, about what you want, about what you've been running from. It demands honesty about the mistakes you made and the opportunities you ignored. It demands honesty about the people you let drain your energy and the moments you let slip away. This honesty isn't comfortable. It stings. It forces you to face regrets, weaknesses, and fears, but it also sets you free. Because when you strip away the lies, you finally meet yourself. Not the version you show the world. Not the version you built to fit expectations. But the raw, unfiltered, unpolished self that's been buried under years of pretending. That self is the only one that matters. And at 60, you no longer have patience for anything less. You stop saying someday. You stop sugarcoating. You stop pretending that time is endless. You start speaking the truth even if it shakes people. You start living the truth even if it means letting go of what no longer fits. You stop tolerating fake smiles, fake relationships, and fake ambitions, because your soul won't let you. It refuses to stay silent. It demands to be seen. It demands to be heard. It demands to live out its final chapters in full honesty, no matter the cost. And in that honesty, you find the freedom and power you were searching for all along. Excuses expire. You realize there's no room left for waiting or blaming. When you're young, excuses feel unlimited. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. You tell yourself there's always more time. You tell yourself the right moment will eventually come, and with every excuse, you push life further away. You waste hours. You waste days. You waste years convincing yourself you'll get serious later. Later becomes a trap. Blame becomes a shield. You point at circumstances. You point at other people. You point at the past and say that's the reason you're not where you want to be. And as long as you're young, you think you can get away with it. You think there's still plenty of runway left to take off, but 60 changes everything. At 60, the illusion of endless time disappears. You can see the years behind you stacked higher than the years ahead. And in that moment, the excuses lose all their power. Waiting becomes a joke. Blaming becomes irrelevant because time doesn't care. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't hand you back what you wasted. It keeps moving, and if you don't move with it, you're done. That's why excuses expire. They can't protect you anymore. They can't justify inaction. They can't make up for the opportunities you ignored. At this stage, the truth hits hard. No one is coming to save you. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. The only one left is you. You either own your life now or you let it slip away forever. It's that simple. Excuses rot your potential. They destroy your urgency. They eat away at your discipline. And by 60, the soul won't tolerate them. The time for waiting is over. The time for blaming is over. Now it's about action. Now it's about honesty. Now it's about stepping up with whatever you have left and refusing to waste another second. And here's the raw truth. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You don't need better circumstances. You need better decisions. You don't need another excuse. You need to face the fact that the clock is ticking, and the only way to beat it is to live fully right now. Excuses are dead weight. They expire the moment you decide to own your reality, and when they're gone, all that's left is the choice to rise or to quit. At 60, there's no room for anything else. Wisdom is your weapon. Experience becomes your advantage over youth. When you're young, energy is your strength. You can run faster. You can work longer. You can burn through nights chasing goals without feeling the weight of exhaustion. But youth comes with blindness. It comes with arrogance. It comes with a lack of perspective that makes mistakes louder than results. The young may have speed, but they don't yet understand direction. They run hard, but often in circles. They move fast, but sometimes toward things that don't matter. Wisdom changes that. Wisdom is built from years of scars, lessons, and battles that tested you. It's built from the failures that nearly broke you and the victories that taught you patience. It's built from standing in storms you thought would destroy you and realizing you came out stronger. At 60, wisdom becomes your sharpest weapon, because now you know what matters and what doesn't. You know which battles are worth fighting and which ones drain your soul for nothing. You know when to push forward and when to hold back. You know when silence is power and when your voice is the only thing that matters. That knowledge is priceless. It's the kind of strength no amount of youth can buy, because wisdom saves you from wasting time. It saves you from chasing illusions. It saves you from pouring energy into things that won't matter a year from now. And that's why wisdom is the great equalizer. The young may have the fire, but you have the map. They may have the sprint, but you have the endurance. They may have enthusiasm, but you have clarity. Clarity beats speed every single time. At 60, you carry an arsenal of lessons no 20-year-old can compete with. You can see through lies quicker. You can smell opportunity clearer. You can sense danger before it even arrives. You don't fall for every shiny distraction because you've already lived through enough to know how empty they are. That is your weapon. That is your advantage. And it's not just about protecting yourself, it's about building better, stronger, and smarter. Wisdom allows you to create with precision instead of desperation. It allows you to teach without ego. It allows you to lead without fear, because you're not guessing anymore. You're not gambling your future blindly. You're moving with certainty born from experience, and that certainty is more powerful than the endless energy of youth. Wisdom is the blade that cuts through confusion. It's the shield that protects against mistakes. It's the fire that burns longer than adrenaline ever could. At 60, wisdom isn't just something you carry. It's who you are, and it's the very thing that makes the next chapter of your life unstoppable. Clarity replaces chaos. You finally know what really matters and what doesn't. When you're younger, life feels like noise. Everyone's shouting advice. Everyone's pushing expectations. Everyone's telling you who you should be, what you should chase, and how you should live. And in the middle of all that noise, you get lost. You say yes to things that don't matter. You fight battles that don't belong to you. You carry weights that were never yours to carry, and for decades, that chaos feels normal. You think it's just life. You think being busy means being productive. You think being exhausted means you're on the right track. But chaos is a lie. It keeps you distracted. It keeps you chasing things that will never bring peace. It keeps you running so fast that you don't even notice you're moving in the wrong direction. At 60, the fog lifts, clarity steps in, and for the first time, you can see the difference between what's real and what's noise. You see that most of the things you worried about never actually mattered. You see that most of the people you tried to impress didn't care at all. You see that most of the things you sacrificed your time for had no lasting value. And suddenly, priorities shift. You don't waste energy on drama. You don't waste time on fake friendships. You don't waste your soul chasing approval that was empty from the start. Instead, you protect your peace. You protect your health. You protect your time like it's the most valuable currency in the world, because it is. Clarity shows you what deserves your attention and what doesn't. It shows you the power of simplicity. It shows you that saying no is just as important as saying yes. And it shows you that the things that truly matter aren't complicated at all. Love matters, purpose matters, peace matters, integrity matters. The rest is noise, and once you see that, you can't unsee it. Clarity strips away the chaos that once ruled your life. It gives you direction where there used to be confusion. It gives you calm where there used to be stress. It gives you strength where there used to be fear. At 60, clarity becomes your compass. It points you toward what actually deserves the rest of your years. It keeps you focused on what feeds your soul instead of what drains it. It silences the noise and amplifies the truth. Clarity replaces chaos, and in that shift, you finally start living, not for everything, but for the things that actually matter. Legacy mindset. Your focus shifts from accumulation to contribution. For most of life, people are told to accumulate money, accumulate possessions, accumulate titles, awards, and recognition. It's a race to stack as much as possible so you can look successful in the eyes of others. And for years, that pursuit feels like progress. You buy the house, you buy the car, you climb the ladder, you collect the trophies, you chase the applause. But at 60, accumulation loses its shine. The things you've gathered start to feel heavy. The possessions don't fill the emptiness. The recognition doesn't silence the questions echoing in your soul. And that's when the shift happens. The mindset changes. It's no longer about how much you can take with you. It's about what you leave behind. Accumulation becomes irrelevant because you realize none of it comes with you when the final chapter closes. Contribution takes its place. You start asking yourself different questions. What impact did I make? Whose lives did I touch? What lessons will outlive me? What seeds did I plant that will grow long after I'm gone? That's legacy. Not the money in your account, not the material you collected, but the imprint you leave on people, the stories they tell about how you lived, the wisdom you passed down, the courage you inspired. At 60, your soul shifts into this truth. You stop obsessing over numbers and start focusing on meaning. You stop hoarding and start giving. You stop living only for yourself and start living for the mark you want to leave on the world. Contribution becomes your fuel. Every act of kindness becomes a brick in your legacy. Every lesson you share becomes a torch for someone else to carry forward. Every moment of integrity becomes a story that outlives you. And the beauty of this shift is that it brings peace. Because accumulation never satisfied you. It only left you hungry for more. But contribution feeds your soul in a way nothing else ever could. It connects you to something bigger than yourself. It gives your life a weight that can't be measured in possessions. At 60, you realize that legacy is the only currency that matters, and every choice you make either builds it or destroys it. Legacy mindset is freedom, because when your focus is on contribution, you stop competing and start creating. You stop chasing approval and start inspiring others. You stop clinging to what you can't keep and start investing in what will remain. Legacy is not built in what you own. It's built in what you give. And when the shift happens, you finally understand that contribution, not accumulation, is the true measure of a life well lived. Truth is freedom. Aligning with your real self is the ultimate victory. For most of your life, you've been told to wear masks, to play roles, to fit into boxes that never truly belonged to you. You've been told to be polite when you wanted to speak your mind. You've been told to stay quiet when you wanted to roar. You've been told to chase the safe path instead of the honest one. And every time you chose the script over your soul, you lost a piece of yourself. It felt easier at the time, easier to blend in, easier to nod along, easier to say yes when your heart screamed no. But those small betrayals added up. They built walls around you. They buried your true voice under layers of expectation. They silenced the part of you that was meant to live loud and unapologetic. At 60, those walls crack. The weight of pretending becomes unbearable, and your soul pushes back with force. It demands truth. It demands alignment, because anything less is poison. Truth is not always comfortable. It asks you to admit where you've fallen short. It asks you to face regrets you've buried. It asks you to strip away the lies you've told yourself just to get through the day. But in that raw confrontation, you find freedom. Because truth unlocks everything. It clears the fog. It cuts through the noise. It removes the weight of living for someone else's approval. When you align with your real self, you don't need permission anymore. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You already have everything you need because you're finally living as you, the real you, the one that doesn't apologize for existing, the one that doesn't shrink to make others comfortable, the one that doesn't trade authenticity for acceptance. That alignment is the ultimate victory. It's not about money. It's not about status. It's not about recognition. It's about peace. The peace of waking up every day knowing you're not faking. The peace of speaking words that match your heart. The peace of looking in the mirror and finally recognizing the person staring back at you. Truth gives you that freedom, and once you taste it, you will never go back. You will never put on the mask again. You will never sell your soul for applause again. You will never sacrifice your alignment for acceptance again. Because truth is the final power. It's the anchor that holds you steady. It's the compass that points you forward. It's the victory that no one can take from you. And at 60, when truth finally takes over, you realize this is what you were searching for all along. So here you are, 60 years behind you, a lifetime of lessons written into your scars, your victories, your regrets, and your wisdom. And the soul has shifted. The masks have fallen. The excuses are gone. The distractions have lost their power. Now it's only you and the truth, and that truth is freedom, because this is not the end. This is the beginning of your real life, the life where you no longer chase illusions, the life where you no longer beg for approval, the life where you no longer carry lies that don't belong to you. At 60, the soul changes direction. It turns toward honesty. It turns toward clarity. It turns toward contribution. It turns toward freedom. And if you have the courage to follow it, the years ahead will not be smaller. They will not be weaker. They will not be empty. They will be the truest, most powerful years of your life, because now, finally, you are not just living. You are living aligned with your soul, and that is the ultimate victory.